I look up the best sporting events to watch each week so you don't have to. This is going to cover the week of Thursday, March 5th to Wednesday, March 11th. What's on TV? Couple of quick notes before we get started. There will be no women's college basketball in this edition. I'm doing a conference championship guide. Be on the lookout for that on Saturday. There is going to be plenty of World Baseball Classic action though, so check out the preview that I did with my dear friend Brett. It's right here wherever you're watching or listening. We went pool by pool, giving you players to watch, some fun facts, who we think is going to advance out of each pool, and finish it up by picking who we think is going to win the World Baseball Classic title this year. As always, if you want all this in written form so you can just look at it whenever you want to, subscribe to my newsletter over at theshownotes.beehive.com. It's free. You have nothing to lose. You're welcome. All right, Thursday, March 5th, as promised, World Baseball Classic, Czechia versus Korea, 5 a.m. Eastern Time on FS1. With host cities being all over the world for group play, you are guaranteed to find a game time that works for you. I'm a big proponent of just watching all of the games, especially ones involving Haesung Kim, who is absolutely jacked. Also, someone smarter than me should come up with a check swing joke. Then, men's college basketball, Tulane Green Wave at the Temple Owls, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. As you can tell, I love little fun facts. For this game, I didn't think I'd be able to top that Temple has a freshman, Olin Chamberlain Jr., who is the grandnephew of, you guessed it, Wilt Chamberlain. Then I got to Tulane's leading scorer and rebounder, Rowan Brumbaugh. His mom is an actress turned novelist. That's not the interesting part, though. Her name is Galaxy Craze. That's her legal birth name. To her credit, she has said that she does not recommend giving your kids weird names. Then we're going to finish up with more World Baseball Classic action. Australian versus Czechia, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Double duty for Czechia, except it's 2 different days in Tokyo, but whatever. Still an impressive feat, and you get bonus points for watching both. Friday, March 6th, World Baseball Classic, Taiwan versus Japan at 5 a.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Taiwanese pitcher Wei In-lin's mechanics so closely resemble those of Dodgers pitcher Blake Snell that Lin's nickname is the Taiwanese Snellzilla. Between the Godzilla lore and the Dodgers cornering the Japanese market, there's no more appropriate team for him to face in this tournament. No Roki Sasaki for Team Japan, but his Dodgers teammates Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto are here. And guess what? More World Baseball Classic action, Mexico versus Great Britain, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. A couple of the game's most interesting characters, Randy Arozarena and Jazz Chisholm, face off with a special guest appearance from Klay Thompson's brother Trace. The Thompson family is one of the most underrated athletic families in sports history. Another brother, Michael, played 5 games for the Cavaliers back in 2011-2012. The man who started it all, also named Michael, was such an impressive NBA player that Michael Jordan briefly spelled his name the same way as a child until his mom told him to knock it off. Let's just keep it rolling with the World Baseball Classic, Puerto Rico versus Colombia, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Bad Bunny has set the standard when it comes to patriotism as far as I'm concerned. Why bother becoming a global icon if you aren't going to use the resources that come with that to win a couple of ball games? It didn't work out, but he offered to pay for Carlos Correa's insurance policy so he could compete for Team Puerto Rico. Watch what happens to the Gamecocks football program when this newsletter blows up. Then finishing up World Baseball Classic, United States versus Brazil, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. Wild to turn around and pull for a country days after we started bombing someone else for reasons that don't make a ton of sense, but I guess we should be used to that by now. Saturday, March 7th. Picking up where we left off, World Baseball Classic, Korea versus Japan at 5 a.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Kind of an unwritten rule around here that if there's early morning Saturday sports, we're going to watch them. That's not the only international competition going on, though. Women's international soccer, USA versus Colombia, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. I've built in a little nap time for you after that baseball game, and we get to check out what's going on with the She Believes Cup. Then men's college hoops, number 17 North Carolina Tar Heels at the number 1 Duke Blue Devils, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. If anything is going to take precedence over the World Baseball Classic, it's going to be the biggest rivalry in college basketball. Round 1 was ridiculous. Duke looked in control for much of it, then the wheels came off as UNC stormed back to win it on a 3-pointer by Seth Trimble with .4 seconds left. I watched it. I still don't understand how it happened. You want to say it was just a blip on Duke's radar because they've drilled everyone since then, but you know what they say about rivalry games. And finally, NBA, Golden State Warriors at the Oklahoma City Thunder, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. I can't think of this game without remembering the Steph Curry double bang game winner back in 2016. I watched it live, but I was on a lot of cold medicine and thought I had possibly hallucinated it. Sadly, he's going to be out with a knee injury, so we'll have to turn our attention to the battle between Draymond and Lou Dort for the title of dirtiest player in the league. First one to DDT an opponent wins. Sunday, March 8th, World Baseball Classic. Australia versus Japan, 6 a.m. Eastern Time on FS1. If my understanding of time zones is correct, I believe Australians will be watching this one on Wednesday morning. Then we've got college softball, number 3 Texas Longhorns at number 24. South Carolina Gamecocks at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on the SEC Network. If not for women's sports, they'd have to burn down the entire South Carolina athletic department. A safe bet to assume the women's basketball team will also be playing for yet another SEC Conference Tourney title today, so check out that guide when it drops. The softball team has high hopes this season, but they're 0-5 against ranked teams so far. Got to straighten that out if you want to survive the SEC. The Longhorns are one of 10 SEC teams ranked ahead of the Gamecocks. Then men's college hoops, number 8 Michigan State Spartans at the number 3 Michigan Wolverines at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. A nice little top 10 rivalry matchup to end the regular season. The Spartans were never really in it when they played at the end of January. Cannot imagine the rage that will boil out of Tom Izzo if they look like that again. Monday, March 9th, World Baseball Classic, Israel versus the Dominican Republic at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. American baseball crowds have become less snooty, but we still have a ways to go to catch up with countries like the Dominican Republic. Check out how insane they got with each home run in their exhibition against the Detroit Tigers. Plenty of reason for them to be excited too, because they have the most talented lineup in the tournament. Then another good World Baseball Classic matchup, United States versus Mexico, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. Mexico is a great sleeper pick to win it all. They came close in 2023, losing in the semifinals on a heartbreaking walk-off against eventual champion Japan. Keep an eye out for Randy Arozarena's wardrobe. The Cuban Rocket fully embraced the culture of his adopted homeland by rocking cowboy boots and a cowboy hat the last time around. Tuesday, March 10th, men's college basketball, the ACC tournament starts. Coverage begins at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the ACC network. Get ready to see some players and coaches for the last time. Big fan of these early round conference tournament games because you don't know who's going to show up with desperation and who's going to show up with apathy. Then, back to the World Baseball Classic, United States versus Italy, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. With all due respect to Tony Soprano, Christopher Columbus was an idiot. Honestly, not a great look for either country there. I'm a little shocked that Italy doesn't have more talent, but Jack Caglianone figures to play a huge role in the Royals' plan this MLB season. The 6th overall pick in 2024 hit 68 home runs over his final 2 seasons at Florida. Wednesday, March 11th, men's college basketball, the SEC tournament begins. Coverage starts at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the SEC network. I just told you why I love early round conference tournament games. Remember back in 2008 when that game went into overtime and saved all those fans from a tornado? That was crazy. All right, finishing up the week, World Baseball Classic action, Dominican Republic versus Venezuela, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. This is the last game of the pool play stage. So there you have it. Mark your calendars accordingly. Hope you enjoy watching all of those games. If you want this in your inbox every Thursday morning, head over to theshownotes.beehive.com and subscribe to my weekly newsletter, and be on the lookout to my guide for the Women's Conference Championship games on Saturday. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.